Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back. I'm Jen or Jason Lady, whichever you prefer. I am doing a funny little build today, but it was for a really cool collaboration. Unfortunately, my video is really late. I'm actually recording this the day I'm uploading it because, as I've mentioned in recent videos, there for a while, I literally was not sleeping. I'd sleep a couple of hours and then I'd be awake for 2 days. And then I'd sleep a couple of hours and I'd be awake for 2 days. Needless to say, I'm behind in everything in life right now. But anyways, like I was saying, this is a collab and I'll have the links in the description box down below. It was a fun collab. I am not super satisfied with my build. Okay, so this is a Disney Dreamlight Valley collab, and if you don't know what Disney Dreamlight Valley is, it's this adorable little game that is kind of like Animal Crossing in that you decorate your little house and you collect characters, but it's all Disney related, right? And my favorite Disney characters of all time are Ralph and Vanellope and like the whole Wreck-It Ralph stuff. That's my favorite Disney movie ever, and my favorite character. So obviously I was gonna pick Vanellope's house, but it was dumb because in Disney Dreamlight Valley, Vanellope's house is an ice cream cone upside down on the ground with the melted chocolate, presumably ice cream, but it could just be melted chocolate, in piles on the ground around the cone and coming out of the top of the cone. And I am not, no, I don't know what I was thinking. I was really not thinking when I decided to do a house inspired by Vanellope's house. I don't know if you can tell, but the dirt painting around the bottom of the house is supposed to be the chocolate. The brown roof is also supposed to be reminiscent of chocolate. The dragon scale siding is supposed to be the pink cone, and then so I'm also a very into realism kind of player in The Sims. If it's Disney Dreamlight Valley, yes, give me all the fun and silly and cutesy, but in The Sims, I tend to lean more towards liking to do things that are more realistic. I'll be honest though, I'm starting to come around to the cutesy and the silly and the fun and the sparkly. I think we could use a couple of kits that are just like all glittery, sparkly, 5-year-old princess dream stuff, or candy inspired stuff, like a holiday pack either for like Halloween or Christmas that's just like giant candy trees or something, you know what I mean? But in the game so far and up until recently, I have appreciated this, so I'm not complaining. We don't have overly cutesy stuff. The Vanellope's house has a lot of candies around it because if you've never seen Wreck-It Ralph, Vanellope comes from a game called Sugar Rush, and it's like a racing game where everything is candy. Everything is candy except for the racers. When I say everything is candy, I mean everything is candy. The trees are candy canes and lollipops, and this is no different in Disney Dreamlight Valley. She's got little gumdrops around the bottom edging of her house in place of shrubs and flowers, you know what I mean? She's got lollipop and candy cane tree decor that goes around her house. So we don't have that in The Sims. I had to do the next best thing that I could find or think of, and these balloons from the party kit kind of remind me of gumdrops. Also, I didn't want to use a bunch of debug items sized up. I feel like they would have looked really bad, and I did test a couple of things out. I thought we don't have candy cane, anything candy cane really, but we do have like the cotton candy from businesses and hobbies that would have made cute trees. But when I sized those up, they looked really bad. Like, really, the textures on them were really, really bad, and they only looked good in their small form. I didn't want it to look that bad. I knew that this was gonna be a struggle for me to begin with, and I didn't want to make it look even worse than it was already probably going to end up looking, because Vanellope's house definitely is very cutesy, very kiddish. I mean, Vanellope is a child after all, so very kiddish, very cutesy. All the things that I'm actually kind of wishing now that we had in the game, because I'd like to use them and decorate with them more. But yeah, I couldn't ruin it even more by adding massively sized up debug items that just were not going to look good. So now, while the outside of Vanellope's house leans very heavy in the like candy sweets realm, the inside of Vanellope's house leans very heavily arcade. So if you've never seen Wreck-It Ralph, wait, did I already tell you this? If you've never seen Wreck-It Ralph, it's about arcade games in an arcade, and how the characters at the end of the day, when the arcade is closed, they all get together and hang out in each other's games, and like they're all friends and stuff, and they intermingle. It's an arcade game movie. It just so happens that Vanellope's game, her arcade game that she lives in, is candy themed. So I tried to get the inside of her Disney Dreamlight Valley house does have some cake. I think it's cake or cookies or something, inspired wallpapers, flooring, that kind of stuff. So I tried to stick with that. These wallpapers from high school years kind of look like cake with melting frosting on them, or like ice cream that's kind of melting a little bit. It kind of gives me that vibe a little bit. So I decided to use that because it kind of reminds me of the cake or cookie or whatever it is wallpaper in Vanellope's house in Dreamlight Valley. But yeah, it's like this weird combination of a sweet, kiddish candy theme and like this neon, at times almost cyberpunk, like arcade type of world going on. So that's where my inspiration for all of this came from. And obviously I had to use the gaming posters, right? I mean, you can't make a house based on a video game movie and not use the video game posters and stuff and all the neon lights, because her house has neon lights in them. But yeah, I tried to make it a real house that could actually be used by real Sims, but be inspired heavily by Vanellope and her whole world, but also specifically her Disney Dreamlight Valley home, which is, again, outside candy, inside more like arcade themed. And as you can see in the video, I did struggle quite a bit here and there. And some of that is my skills. Some of that is we just don't have the arcade cyberpunk themes in The Sims 4 yet. Hopefully we get that someday. Nor do we have the cutesy candy theme stuff in The Sims 4, and hopefully we get that someday too. If we ever get those two things in like kits or packs or whatever, I am definitely gonna redo Vanellope's house. I might keep the house itself, I might not. The house itself is fine. It's a fine, normal, everyday house. I think the thing that I'm only really disappointed in is the yard, because I had to replace like gumdrops and candy cane trees with just balloons. So I think I was most disappointed in that area. The inside of the house, I made do, and it actually worked out fine. But I think it's the yard that gets me. And you can't size up or down those balloons either, because the lights attached don't move. The balloons get bigger and smaller, but the lights stay exactly the same size and exactly where they're at. So they end up just floating in midair. Believe me, I tried. So, yeah. If the more I look at it, if I really had to pinpoint my disappointment with this build, it's the yard more than anything else. And I also built it in San Myshuno because Ralph, Vanellope lives basically on a racetrack, but Ralph lives in like a city, like a big skyscraper city. And since I thought there was nowhere that even remotely resembled anything that you could even squint your eyes and pretend was Vanellope's world, I decided to go with Ralph's world, which is like a big city, and that's why I decided to build it in San Myshuno, because it's a big city with tall buildings. I mean, that's what Ralph and Felix live in. They live in a big, well, Felix lives in a big, tall apartment building. I can't remember now. Oh my god, it's been so many years since I saw Wreck-It Ralph. I might have to turn that on one of these days and just watch it again. I miss that movie so much. My daughter, when she was little, she was obsessed with that movie. The year that she was obsessed with it, we even had a candy-themed birthday party for her. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but it was actually one of the few birthday parties that I put together for her that actually turned out really adorable. I made all these like lollipop decorations out of balloons and stuff. It was so cute. It was so cute. But I totally lost my train of thought. Mom brain. I get talking about something and then I forget what it was I was saying before. Well, yeah, okay. Anyways, moving on. I might still be a little bit tired. It's going to take my body some time to catch up with actually sleeping again. Not that I'm sleeping great. I'm still only getting about 6 to 7 hours of sleep. But it's better than sleeping for 2 hours and then not sleeping again for 2 days. So I realized when I got to this part of the house that the house is actually quite small. And there were some areas that it was hard to fit some of the furniture into. I think if I had it to do again, the only other thing besides fixing the yard I would do is expand the back side of this house a little bit. But honestly, it's a normal house and it's totally fine the way it is. I was just going for a specific look and it didn't fit very well, you know what I mean? Oh, yeah, and I tried to bring the trees inside by making them look like the balloons were like potted in pots, which is why I stuck those balloons in the corner. In a minute, you'll see me stick a garden pot underneath of it because they're the trees. They're the trees, and she brought them, inside. Yeah, I tried. I really tried so hard. I used every neon light and sparkly thing I could find. Oh, those are so fun. I need to start using those in more builds. Seriously. Those little wall star sparkly things, those are so adorable and so fun. I have been enjoying doing these challenges recently, like the one color challenge and these collaboration challenges and shells and stuff, because it forces me to explore things in the game that I might not otherwise explore, because I get stuck in a rut of doing the same thing over and over again, and then I just don't explore anything else, and I either forget or I don't realize the stuff that we have in the game. Sorry, I'm also having another bout of severely dry mouth. If you like hear me like whistling or wheezing when I breathe, or if my voice just suddenly cuts out or whatever, it's just because the nerves that that go to my salivary glands don't work right anymore because of my medical condition, and I just don't produce saliva. I do. It's this weird, I produce enough that sometimes it's annoying, but also I don't produce enough, and like then my mouth gets so dry that my throat gets dry, and then I literally can't breathe or speak. Your throat is not supposed to ever be dry. It burns, and to breathe it burns because you've got warm air hitting a dry area. That's not meant to be dry, so it makes it like weird to breathe, but it also makes it virtually impossible to speak. You don't realize until you don't have the ability to do it just how interconnected everything is on your body. And who would think that having dry mouth would make it like virtually impossible to speak? Literally, no sound comes out sometimes. Basically, you need saliva to lubricate everything, or it just does not function properly. And that's what's happening to me. Not to be gross and stuff, sorry about that, but just like to give you an idea of why I sound funny sometimes. Anyways, enough about that boring stuff. The house build is pretty much done, so let's get into the walkthrough. And then, yeah. Okay, here we are. And yeah, I wish I could have made the balloons bigger. I think they would have looked better and more tree-like if I could have sized them up and also sized them down to make them a little bit taller shrubs, like over here on the side in this corner area. The ones that are on the ground are perfect. They do kind of look like little gumdrops, don't they? Like little clusters of gumdrops that have lights on them. And then, of course, I couldn't resist using the confetti on the ground like sprinkles. I thought that was really adorable, especially in the multicolor heart pattern like that. And neon strip LED strip lights for the front lights on the house. I thought that would also be really cute. Let's go inside. So you enter in the dining room, very arcadey game, cyberpunk, but also cute, sweet candy, sparkles, and yeah, I can't think of any other descriptive words, but you know what I'm saying. Also, I specifically chose this light because it's actually very reminiscent of a light in Dreamlight Valley that goes with the Wreck-It Ralph set from the second Ralph movie. So I thought that was really cool and cute. Then we have the kitchen with all of the appliances and everything for making candies and desserts and sweets and all that kind of stuff. I had to include them, and in pink, no less. I don't know why I chose pink. Vanellope is more of a teal kind of girl, but I decided to go with pink. I just thought it was cute. Then we have her living room and her computer gaming area. I imagine she'd be a streamer if she could be. So we have that. It's kind of a small TV for the living room, but the upstairs has a bigger TV for like better gaming on. A cutesy little downstairs bathroom here. And then this is the very simple backyard here. More gumdrops, more neon LED strip lights. I thought that was cute. I have to have back doors in all of my homes. I cannot have a home. It really bothers me to have homes without two exits. I have a terrible fear of house fires and people getting trapped in house fires. Here's the upstairs bathroom. I'm realizing now I actually should have included a bathtub. Because this is like the family bathroom, but that's okay. It's cute. It works. Then we have the gaming room with the arcade game, the only arcade game we have so far. Hopefully that changes in the very near future. I'd love to make an arcade. And then her gaming setup here with the bigger TV. And then, oh, did you see that? The screen came on. Oh, that's weird and creepy. Why does the screen come on when I move away from it? Okay. This is actually very similar to a picture in of Vanellope in Disney Dreamlight Valley. It's like this pop art, 4 different versions, but instead of a raccoon, it's Vanellope herself, so I had to include that. And then this is Vanellope's bedroom here. Little girly, little cutesy, a little neon cyberpunk party themed. I don't know. I tried. Oh, the reason the carpets are teal is because the carpet in her Dreamlight Valley house is teal. So I used that like teal kind of carpet all throughout, in case I didn't mention that part. That was the one thing that I could actually copy from Disney Dreamlight Valley and have it work in The Sims was the carpet. How funny is that? But yeah, here's the build. Hopefully you enjoyed it. This room, I'm thinking this is probably my favorite room. This right here. Just this. I love this little look right here. Okay, well, on that note, if you enjoyed this video, or, if you can at least pretend that you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. It would really encourage me to keep going. And maybe if you really, really like my channel, hit the subscribe button. I'd very much appreciate that as well. And yeah, I'm really, really close to hitting 800 subscribers. I only have 20 to go. That is mind-blowing to me. So yeah, I appreciate you all. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.